The following is a special presentation of iRacing on LSRTV, your home for sim racing.
It is time for the chase in the Upstate Racing League here with the White Knuckle Clothing Pro Late Model Series here at Richmond to start off the 5-race series here to decide the champion in this series. And what a night to do it. It's going to be 111 laps here for the Arts Barbershop 111. And we are more than happy to have you along. Myself, I'm Austin Coop in the booth with Kelly Dahl and Chris Murdoch. Guys, this is going to be the start of their chase to find a championship. And if it's anything like last year's, it's going to be going down to the wire and down to the final 2 races. And in this one, it's going to be all the same. Kelly, coming to Richmond, this is one of the bigger tracks that we're going to be coming to, and something that these guys don't normally have to deal with, or at least I haven't had to deal with a lot this season, is the ability to get tires. This is the track so large that there is going to be a big advantage if you come and get tires, or a big disadvantage if you come and get tires, depending on when you come and get them.
So last week we also had the opportunity to get tires as well. However, we stayed green for so long that no one had the opportunity to come down. And because these tracks are so small, there is no opportunity to come down for green flag pit stops unless you want to put yourself on multiple laps down. So these guys have to hope for a late caution before they can come get fresh tires. But really, with the way these guys drive, that's not always the thing that happens. So really what it will come down to is who can baby those tires the best and maybe bring those things all the way to the end. But you'll see occasionally some guy will try to push those tires hard early on, get that track position, and just hope that a caution comes out. I believe we also saw that last week, and that caution never came. So it is a risky play, but it is a play that can pay off.
We're going to look at the point standings right now, which has Matt Knuckle at the top of the point standings once again. He did not win the regular points standings race. That went to Stefan Marinak. And so because of that, Marinak will get an extra bonus point, and then Matt Knuckle will get 5, Marinak 3 for wins. So that puts Marinak only 1 point behind. And so then we go rolling down. Sean Cool, Jake Watson, they both got wins, and then the rest of the group behind, they are tied for 5th place. So going into it, that's going to be the minimum amount of points that they could have, and so that's where they sit. Realistically, if you're any of these drivers, you're in a position where this is going to be a make or break race to kind of start on the right or the wrong foot for you. You've got Nicholas Rasmussen, AJ Hamill, Scott Naslin, Al Smith Jr., Gabe A. Fortin, and James McIntyre Jr. Those guys made it in, and some of those guys made it closer than others. And then, as we talked about last week, Mike Holtzclaw, Brian Rogers Jr., they were close, but just not close enough when it mattered, and they would not make the chase for this championship. So it'll be those 10 drivers that will start a championship hunt here tonight. Chris, more than happy to have all 3 of us in the booth for these next 5 races. It's going to be a little special deal to have 3 of us in the booth, and I think something in particular that's really exciting to note is that the 2 dominant drivers are going to be the guys we're going to be probably talking about there, but there might be somebody here tonight that'll start coming through the field, because we've got Stefan Marinak and Matt Knuckle starting 1st and 2nd, and they're 1st and 2nd in points.
Yeah, it took the words right out of my mouth there, Coop, and you're absolutely right about it being a make or break race, you know, in the grand scheme of things for this chase, because you never want to fall off the wagon, so to speak. You always want to get that step in the right direction, and Richmond is definitely a good place to do that. Here it's going to be such a good race. Like you mentioned, Stefan Marinak, Matt Knuckle 1 and 2 in the point standings. They're kind of flip-flopped on the grid, but still 1 and 2 on the grid, and it doesn't surprise me at all that Matt Knuckle's up there leading the point standings.
All these drivers know what's going to be on the line for this race, and it'll get set in just a moment with the qualifying grid in the starting grid, rocking and rolling. Pace car is out there on the field, and we will go through where your drivers are going to start their chase here tonight. Stefan Marinak, he will start from the pole. He will start from the in the number 25 Gators machine, and to his outside will be Matt Cucker. Jake Watson will start third, and Scott Naslund, he will start in the 4th position. And you have Al Smith Jr., who will start in the top 5.
AJ Hamill in that 18 car will be rolling off in 6th. Mike Holtzclaw rolls off 7th. 8th goes to the 12 of Brian Rogers. Justin McDuff will be starting in 9th, and James McIntyre Jr. in the 06 will be rounding out our top 10.
Going back through 11th, that's going to go to Guillaume Fortin. Mark Royer is going to be 12th. Nicholas Rasmussen in that 71 is going to be 13th. Alex Orion is going to be 14th. 15th goes to Dan Dubuque just behind him. And 16th, Jay Dubuque. 17th, Wayne McDuff. Michael Woodring in 18th. Rounding out your 19th car field, Sean Cool.
We're going to take a look at the Richmond Raceway, as it is now known, since I think just as of, well, it's been a while since it's been known as Richmond Raceway. It's Richmond International, but now it's known as Richmond Raceway. So it's going to be about 0.75 miles here on this track, and they will go one more time around. And one of the biggest things about that is that it's got a few nicknames. America's Premier Short Track, Strawberry Hill, the Action Track. It has flavorful names, but Richmond Raceway, Double R as I like to call it, is where we're going to be at tonight. And we also want to give a big shout out to tonight's sponsor of Arts Barbershop, and to the to the sponsor of the series, White Knuckle Clothing, and all their support throughout the season.
And as you mentioned, this track does have a bit of banking, a lot more banking than we've been seeing the last few weeks. Last few weeks, this track's been very flat, so we've only had that one line on the inside working here. So we'll have to see if any guys can use that banking, maybe work the outside line here tonight.
And as these guys run through turns 3 and 4 for the first time, it'll be the first of 111 for the Arts Barbershop 111 tonight. And Stefan Marinak will get these guys rolling on to the chase. 5 races. Here's the first round. And Marinak's got these guys going. The top 3 kind of spread themselves out. And Jake Watson, he's going to duck right under Matt Cucker. Matt Cucker going to waste no time and try and contest on the outside. And we are going racing here for 111 laps.
Yeah, Matt Cucker doing a great job here in that 69 machine, kind of running that second groove here. Coop, he's going to have to fall back in behind that 25 machine of Marinak. Not going to have the run early on that he's wanting, so the top 3 going to be single filed out, and that's going to be the most part for your top 10. We see back in the back of the pack, the 22 of Mike Holtzclaw going to go side by side with Brian Rogers. That's going to be for the 7th place position, but Rogers ultimately takes that as they go off into 3.
These guys fighting still side by side, the 20 on the inside, and that's the number 22 on the outside. Holtzclaw versus McDuff. That is the first battle on track. Everyone else getting single file, and Justin McDuff trying to itch a little bit forward. He'll get clear. Then Guillaume Fortin, he'll get right on the inside of the 22 as well. It's a freight train on the inside, and then you've got the 71 of Nicholas Rasmussen, who started from 13th. Not a good starting position for him if he wants to have back-to-back championships, and I think he really wants a win here this season before it's all said and done. And so he's going to have his work cut out for him. Still working underneath the 22 right here, and he's one of the guys we need to continue to watch, because he will eventually, I know the way he drives, he will try and get to the front as soon as possible, and knowing he's got those tires, he slides up the track just a little bit. Not sure the entrance was the way he wanted to, but he got the job done.
Yeah, now that 06 of James McIntyre Jr., he's going to get to the inside of that 22, and really Mike Holtzclaw is not being able to work that high line very well. He's losing a ton of ground. He's going to maybe lose another position to the 06, and if that happens, Sean Cool might sneak underneath of him as well, and he's the 22 actually getting loose, and now he's into the wall. Mike Holtzclaw loses control of the car, gets loose, slams into that outside wall. So that is some big, heavy damage to that right front side, and that may spell the end of his chances here tonight, as there is some heavy, heavy damage on that car.
He finds himself outside the playoffs, but still, he has a lot to still fight for, with Brian Rogers Jr. being in 12th position right behind him. And looking at these drivers towards the top of the field, they aren't mixing it up quite yet, but it looks like Matt Tucker is getting closer to Stefan Marinak just by a little bit, but they've kind of been at this interval the entire race, although I have been seeing some different lines being used, and I think that for these drivers is going to be good. It looks like the 33 is going to be going around with Scott Naslund. And that's going to bring out a caution. Looks like he got turned around, and maybe it was a little bit of assistance, but I think I saw him side by side all by himself.
Yeah, there was some assistance there, Coop, but the spin itself really started with that 33 machine coming out of turn 4. The 12 of Brian Rogers Jr. really just didn't have anywhere to go on that low line, made some contact with the back end and sent him spinning right around.
And that spelled trouble for a couple guys. Nicholas Rasmussen, he and Guillemot Fortin, those two guys were in it, or almost completely in it, and that could have set them back really far. And Brian Rogers Jr., he's sitting in the 12th place in points, and I think with the early problems we had, that might actually throw him in front, have him in 11th position. But of course, he's outside the cutoff line. Doesn't really matter for championship, but of course, he wants to still win that non-chase championship throughout. So our first caution puts for the first spin will put us under caution here on lap number 8. We are rounding out lap number 9 here on this lap, and Kelly, we've kind of seen a little bit of a calm with these front drivers, but I am seeing a really loose condition out in these cars. I think you drove a test car earlier, and I think you have kind of an understanding of what's going on in these cars.
Yeah, you'd expect with the banking that these cars would be a lot tighter than they normally are, but they're set up just a little bit more on the loose side. So if you're off the throttle through the middle of the corner, that car can get really upset. So you got to make sure you got a little bit of throttle input, keep that car balanced, or else it's really easy to lose control of that thing. We already saw the 22 of Mike Holtzclaw that happened to him. He got a little loose, slammed into that outside wall. Same thing happened with Scott Naslund, got loose, just turned that car around. So that's really going to be the name of the game here tonight, is just trying to keep those cars balanced, keep your focus on your own car before you focus on the others. And it's really going to be what's going to decide it here tonight.
And for anybody who is joining and doesn't know, this is a fixed series, which that means is that the setup in each one of these cars is the exact same. You can try and replicate that in real life, but it's just not going to happen. Something is going to be different in some sort of way. Here in the virtual sim, we can replicate each and every single car to have the exact same setup. It's going to be completely in the driver's hand. I think that's what makes these fixed leagues that we cover so much fun. I think there's only one race in the entire week that we cover on LSRTV that's not fixed, and I think it might be the Super Trucks in the CEA Tour. But these guys still under caution. We typically have short caution laps, but this is one of the bigger tracks we have, Chris, so the caution laps are going to be a little bit longer, and with some of these laps turning off, we're almost at the 10% mark already throughout this race, and realistically feels like we haven't really got that much racing done so far.
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like we've done a lot of green flag racing and already going to be crossing the line to take 100 laps to go here, Coop. So definitely going by a little bit quicker than I would have anticipated, and really 111 laps doesn't seem like quite a bit on paper, but when you get these guys up and going, the time starts to run really fast, and you'll start to see these guys get a little bit antsy, and that's what good racing will produce. Just like you mentioned with the fixed setup, I always like the fixed setup leagues. It provides great racing on as equal of a playing field as you're going to get.
I guess I'll also have to say that the Pro Series is also not a fixed league or a fixed series. So I was technically right when I said fixed league, but the Pro Series is a open series. So I definitely want to clear that up real quick before I put foot in mouth. So these guys get ready to go for their first race start of the night. Will we see any gambling happening in this first corner? It's where you can get the most time, but it's also where you can make the most enemies here on a restart. Marinak has the time to go whenever, and he will go right now. Green flag back in the air, and Stefan Marinak will get a great jump, and looks like the contest is going to be for second place. Jake Watson on the bottom, and looks like Matt Knuckle will have a sweep down to the bottom of the track, and he's got a lot of momentum, and it's going to be side by side on back.
Yeah, just behind Al Smith Jr. Al Smith Jr. is trying to find his way to that bottom side, still staying on the middle lane here, just a little bit too high up the track. He's got the room now to go to the bottom line. He's now going to fall in line. We'll have to see if he's still going to try to make that outside line work. He really kind of voluntarily stayed up there the last few corners, but this time he's going to get himself all the way down to the yellow. Looking back in the field, though, Brian Rogers Jr. gets shuffled up through the field, gets knocked to that high line. Now he's got to deal with the 24 getting past him, and now the 13 of Guillaume Fortin is trying to get it by him as well. And we'll have to see, we've just noticed that that high line really has not come in at all. We'll have to see if the track will wear in a bit more and maybe make that high line a bit more viable later on tonight.
Something about this track is that when you put the NASCAR race cars on this circuit, they're so much faster that that top side gets a little bit momentum, and these cars are a little bit slower, and so the top side's not as viable in the spring set, or really just the chassis in these doesn't really lend itself to that, and I'd say until later on in the race. So I think it might be a while before we see that. And also want to say that the battle for fourth between Al Smith Jr. and Jake Watson got a little heated there for just a bit. Looks like Al Smith tried to take a look on the inside on turn 1, and he backed out of it just to show that he was there, but in the time he had lost a lot of time to make that move. Matt Cucker, though, he's right on the back bumper of Stefan Marinac going to turn number 1. He does not appear to be trying to make a move quite yet, but he's definitely there waiting to make a move, and he is absolutely right in his tracks.
Yeah, he's been there for the past maybe 2-3 laps now, Coop. He's just kind of stalking Stefan Marinac all over the back end. You can see him get the momentum off the corner way better than that 25 machine can, and he knows that he can really duck down the inside, but that's not where he likes to be. You can see him coming out of 2, and he likes that outside line, and look at the run he got by just moving up a groove. Going to be side by side with Marinac as they go off into 3 and 4 now. He's actually going to be able to clear the 25 on the outside. What a move by Matt Cucker.
Who says you can't pass on the outside this early in the race? Matt Cucker says you can, and easily gets the spot away from Stefan Marinac. And look at Jake Watson. Something must be wrong with the 25, because he is really slow right now. He's gotten 2 drivers, now 3 drivers going right by him, and I am really unsure what's going on with the 25, but he's losing positions quickly. I don't know if it's by will, because he's not going that much slower than these guys, but all of a sudden, Stefan Marinac in 1 lap goes from 1st to 4th, and there's I don't say any explanation, but the 96 I think brushes the wall right there, so he's going to be on the inside right here, and so that is going to be that battle. And so now this kind of stacks the drivers that behind him. Nicholas Rasmussen trying to get around the number 18 of AJ Hamill. Guys, I'm really unsure, but he looks fine out there now. But I'm just curious if he just let Matt Cucker by, as I'm seeing the 71 of Nicholas Rasmussen get a little loose right there.
I think what happened with Stephanie was he was kind of just pushed out of his groove and out of his rhythm, and just couldn't quite get that car up to speed. Lost a lot of momentum trying to keep that car down on the track instead of washing up to Matt Cucker. Matt Cucker did a good job just kind of killing that drive that the 25 could get off the corner, making sure he had to, that 25 car had to stay down on the racetrack, which really lost a lot of momentum. Since these cars aren't very high horsepower, you've got to make sure you keep that momentum up, and that's what allowed Jake Watson and Al Smith Jr. to get by. Is you saw the 25, the second he was able to get back to his normal line, he immediately put the pedal back down to the floor and was able to just get around that 96 car. So I don't think there was any problems with the car. I think it was just the fact that he was just kind of pushed out of his normal position and wasn't really expecting to have to defend a position on the inside.
They'll put Matt Cucker in the lead. Jake Watson in 2nd place. Jake Watson's in a good position. He got a win earlier in this series. It may be a slight bit controversial, but he got the job done at the end of the day, and he would get that extra bonus point, which is going to be really helpful if he can finish in front of all the other drivers. The bad thing is that the guy with the most bonus points is right in front of him and in that winner's position. So you've got to really look throughout the field and say, for those guys that are in that top 10, remember we have 19 cars in here, so more than half the field, well, basically half the field is in that chase scenario. So they've really got to go and try and get up there, because there's not that many positions up for grab when you're talking about 10 drivers out of 19 that are going for it.
Yeah, there's really no room for error here. Coop is, I mean, Matt Cucker's really doing a great job at keeping a consistent gap on that 88 of Jake Watson. Meanwhile, behind him, Stefan Marinac is slowly getting back in his rhythm, like Kelly said, and is slowly trying to get away from that 96 of Al Smith Jr. back throughout the field. Not too much going on. Everybody seems to be a little bit singled out. Looks like we got some battle going on between the 18 and the 71, but it looks like everything's really settled out between AJ Hamill and Rasmussen.
I can't forget about AJ Hamill and Nicholas Rasmussen. They are right next to each other on the points grid, 5th, and well, they're tied for 5th. And these guys both really know that being in the top 5 is great and all, but that's not going to win them a championship. Sadly, they've got to win races. Both of them know that getting the chase was a good accomplishment, but seeing that the competitiveness of Cucker and Stefan Marinac, and I'll throw Jake Watson in there because in the couple races coming up to it, he showed some really good stride. And then those 3 guys are really the ones you're looking to beat in this one, I'll say, especially Matt Cucker, knowing that he's got the speed just about every single week. He did not race as many races as some of these guys. He had one less race and he was still in that top 10. Just shows you that he's fast almost on an everyday basis. But you also got to talk about Stefan Marinac. He's had every single race in this series be a top 5. It's a pretty impressive statistic. And so these guys in the back, they've really got to pony up and maybe play some strategy before this one's all over. If a caution comes out here soon, they might have to go for it.
I mean, it could be a bit of a risk to take those tires early on. There could be another caution later on that would allow them to use those tires in a bit better of a position. If I were them, I'd maybe hold on to them to at least halfway through. And here we go. We do have a caution. We'll have to see who's going to make the call for tires later on as we try to figure out what has brought out this yellow flag.
Wayne McDuff finds himself, looks like perpendicular to the inside wall and finally takes that car a tow, but we will find out exactly what happened and get the replay up. But it looks like he just lost it, I'd say, and just could never get it back together. And realistically, he's just trying to get the car back together and just could never get a handle on it. So that will bring us to our second caution of the night. And so that will raise the question that I just asked is, are we going to see anyone come down pit road? You can take 2, you can take 4. I'd say if you're coming down now's the time to take 2, and maybe you could take 4, maybe about halfway. But even then, I think it's risky. Seeing Matt Cucker dive below the yellow line just for a little bit here, and there goes Jake Watson. He's going to come right back up the track, and we're getting a couple of fake divers. At number 20, he will come down pit road, and so we'll watch those guys go down pit road. But while we are doing that, we will give a big shout out to our friends at Art's Barbershop. Art's Barbershop is a proud supporter of the Upstate Racing League and Empire Sim Racing, as well as serving as the primary sponsor of the 18 of AJ Hamill and 20 of Justin McDuff, who just came down pit road. Located in Morrisville, Vermont, Art has been lowering ears and sharing his love for stock car racing with customers for over 40 years. If you're in the north central Vermont, stop in and get a trim, and he'll tell you to enjoy watching the United Sim or the, gosh dang, I keep mixing these leagues up, Upstate Racing League on LSRTV. I've done that twice now tonight, guys. I gotta put some pennies in the jar.
They are pretty similar names there, Coop, so it's easy to get mixed up. Talking pit strategy, we saw a few drivers come down there. You mentioned the 20 of McDuff. I saw Rogers go down pit road, but I didn't really expect any of our top 5 to go down. That means Matt Cucker, Jake Watson, Stefan Marinac, Al Smith Jr., and Rasmussen still going to be out there on the in the top 5. Let's talk about that 88 machine of Jake Watson, though. Just before that caution came out, he was slowly making his way back up to that 69 machine. So let's see if the 88's holding anything back here when we get ready to go back green.
And I think that Jake Watson has been that driver that we've known has always had speed. He's put together a win. But I think he's one of those guys that you're looking at and I'm thinking in this is, you know, I'm curious about how much speed he really has when he's in the position that really matters. And I think that's what we're seeing today, is that we're seeing him start to gradually get more speed, and perhaps he is going to be the first one to maybe start really pegging down the number 69 of Matt Cucker. And Matt's been on top of it just about every time he's been on the racetrack with these guys. 8 top 10s and 9 starts, which is very really good, and with 5 wins, definitely the guy you want to beat. But he has not been up there consistently as the 25, which is, I think, a statistic that just kind of proves itself that he's every single race he's been in that top 5, and 3 of those times he's been the winner. So it just, with these guys up here and towards the front, I think anything with these 3 guys is going to be expected. And maybe Jake Watson starting to catch up, but everyone behind him, I think, if they get into this groove, is going to be a little bit unexpected, as we're seeing. Looks like Matt Cucker try and maybe take the marbles off his car, as he looks like he's taking the outside lane on this restart.
That's something we didn't discuss on that last restart. During the restarts, the leader does have choice of which lane he wants to use. And I'm not too surprised that Matt Cucker's taking the high line. He's usually the guy that will go to that high line first. We saw that early on when he made that pass on Marinac. He's the guy that always enjoys running the high line. And another thing that they have during the restarts that they don't have during the starts is the leader can take off whenever he wishes. He doesn't have to wait for that green flag to fly. So Matt Cucker is going to still have that ability to make the jump, and Jake Watts is actually going to be looking out that right window to see where the 69 is going to be taking off.
Getting awfully close here. Looks like tensions might be rising with the fact that the 88's trying to push up on the track, and seeing when Matt Cucker goes. He goes now. American Ethanol green flag back in the air. And looks like Jake Watson's really looking to put some work on the number 69 of Matt Cucker. And they get rolling 2 by 2 behind 4th place. Now 5th place as the top 5 gets clear there for a moment. And it looks like Nicholas Rasmussen look on the inside of Al Smith Jr. just for a moment as they go side by side behind him. That's going to be Sean Cool, who got a win earlier on in the season. He's fighting the number 18 of AJ Hamill. Everyone in your top 7 is in the chase.
Yeah, and how about that? Sean Cool going to get his way around AJ Hamill, as AJ Hamill is going to try to pull a crossover as a caution comes back out. So that attempt is going to be for naught, as we have a caution out here on the raceway.
Alex Oriens, haven't hardly talked about him all day today. He comes into this race outside of the chase, and he was coming up through the field just a little bit, got too hot into the corner, and simply enough just spun her out, I guess, in the words of Kelly. And he's gonna be just fine, but he's definitely going to either have to come down and get tires or do something, because those that was a very long slide into the corner. So behind the pace car once again, and we will see if anyone comes down pit road. I think the option would be not to come down pit road because we're on kind of a strip, but if you get that strategy just right, it could really pay off for you. But I don't think I see anyone in our top 5 coming down, and I don't see Alex Oriens coming down either. So no one coming down pit road, and I think everyone's doing the safe bet. And once one person goes, I think that's the floodgates at that point here in this race. We'll take a quick moment and step aside as you've been watching the Upstate Racing League here at Richmond Raceway. Welcome back to the White Knuckle Clothing Pro Late Model Series here at Richmond Raceway. Matt Knuckle has been on top of it, but right now, actually he's still, but it looks like Jake Watson had maybe pulled in front for just a second. So Matt Knuckle, he started from second. Stefan Marinak led a lot of laps, and right now we're going to get him restacked and re-rolling here for our third restart of the race. And Jake Watson was kind of playing a little bit of head games with Matt Knuckle on the last restart. Looks like he stays even with him this time. Green flag in the air. Matt Knuckle gets off and going. Lap 44, almost halfway over with this race. And it does not seem to be getting any more anticipating for these guys to get rocking and rolling. Looks like side by side for the 25 right there. He's going to be clear of the 96. He's going to go down in the corner by himself. Here comes the 71. I said he'd be coming up through the field. This is Nicholas Rasmussen, first time in the top 5, and now he's up to a best 4th place so far in this race. Right behind him, Sean Cool's trying to do the exact same thing, get himself in the top 5.
Mark Royer. Get the 36 spun out in the grass. No caution at the moment. We are going to stay green as he went sliding off of the racing surface, but that 36 car had some big problems. Got tagged coming out of turn 4 by the number 20 and sent all the way down into the grass towards that inside wall. I think he somehow kept that thing off the wall, but he ended up in that little victory lane area there a little prematurely, and now he's going to be running way back in the field after that little spin.
Yeah, replay on the screen about exactly what happened. And really, you know, we talk about how loose these setups have been, and it's not been easy for these drivers to get a hold of it, and really been difficult for the guys in the latter half of the field to get through the corners. But the guys who are doing a good job of it, they are up towards the front, of course, and it's going to be basically your top 6 who have kind of really grasped a hold of the setup, and you've got Guillaume Fortin and Scott Naslund there fighting for position, and Scott Naslund did not. Actually, he did make the chase cutoff. So your top 8, top 9, top 10, I believe all your top 10 drivers are your chase drivers, if I'm not mistaken. So everyone in the top 10 is fighting for a very important piece of real estate here on the track. And look at the number 24 of Sean Cool. He's going on the inside of Nicholas Rasmussen. Rasmussen just got that position from the 18 of AJ Hamill, but that position is now being taken back from him at this rate. Sean Cool on the bottom, 71 on the top, and they're still going side by side out of corner number 2. It looks like the 71 will have to concede that position for the time being.
Yeah, and how about that 24 coupe going all the way from 19th to 5th so far throughout tonight's race. He's going to be the race's biggest mover so far here tonight, and I don't think anybody can really beat him starting all the way at the back.
Chris, lead has changed right here. Looks like the number 88 has passed Matt Knuckle for the lead, but I don't think the battle is quite over yet, and looks like it is going to be no longer contested. It looks like Matt Knuckle will sit behind, but new leader this time by is going to be Jake Watson in the number 88, first time leading tonight. And like you guys said, he's got some speed under that machine, and I'm pretty surprised, at least at this point, that he's able to at least get in front of him. Perhaps Matt Knuckle still not pushing as hard as he could in this machine, but Jake Watson being at the point he needs, getting closer and closer to halfway there.
Yeah, but Matt Knuckle is more of a long run guy. He's the guy that can make those tires work and conserve those tires until the end of the race. So usually when we see those tires start to fall off, that's when he rises to the top. I was actually quite surprised that he made the move for the lead so early on. He usually is one of the guys that waits until at least the second half of the race before making a move for that lead position. So Matt Knuckle maybe trying up a different strategy here for tonight, trying to be a bit more aggressive, but Jake Watson made a great move. Now he's got to hold off Matt Knuckle. Jake Watson's got 1 win on the season so far. Matt Knuckle has 5. So really it's going to be a tough battle for that 88 to keep the 69 behind him.
I'm watching Matt Knuckle here throughout the corners, and Matt is just as close as he can to Jake Watson, but Watson's doing a higher line going to 3, and he's able to, I think, be a little bit lower out of 4, and kind of what that's doing is it's not really allowing Matt Knuckle to get an advantage. He's getting the momentum out of the corner, not into it. Matt Knuckle, I think if he really wanted to push, he could, but I don't think either of these drivers really want to push the issue right now. Of course, Jake Watson did, but I think if Matt Knuckle really wanted to contest the position on the outside, he would have. But there's no grip, no speed up there on the top side. So I think once number 88 got to his inside, he kind of just let him go, or perhaps The number 69 is actually not as fast as the 88 right now. He is starting to lose a little bit of speed, but a little bit of speed, it's not even a car length between those two yet. So Cucker has been right there literally the whole time, and these guys behind him are starting to catch up, and we're going to straddle the halfway mark this time by.
Yeah, and you can see Matt Cucker really fighting for grip. He got a little bit loose going through 3 and 4 there on the apron, so he's trying to find every bit of room that he can to try to get back up there to the 88 of Jake Watson. Meanwhile, look who's creeping back into the picture, the 25 of Stefan Marinak. Marinak started on the pole, fell back after getting passed on the high side by both these drivers that are battling for the lead right now. So it's going to be interesting to see if Marinak can get back up into this fight and maybe make it a 3-car battle for the lead. But right now, Jake Watson doing a fantastic job at controlling Matt Cucker's line.
As we start counting the laps down, we will go and we'll continue to actually monitor this race for the lead before we do our halfway break, because Matt Cucker is actually right there on Jake Watson, really close to him, and I thought he was going to make a move for it. There's 2 battles going on, one for first, one for third, and Sean Cool, I have to believe that he's really hurting his tires quite a bit, because he is absolutely sliding through the corners, and Jake Watson going high through turn 3 and low through turn 4, making the car pretty wide and making it a little difficult for Matt Cucker to get that position right now. As there goes Sean Cool to the bottom of the track. He's going to go right there in front of Stefan Marinak. Marinak lets him go, and so that's going to be 3rd position to Sean Cool from 19th to 4th.
Yeah, great job from Sean Cool. He's just been picking his way through the field and has moved his way all the way up to 4th, as you mentioned, from the 19th. He elected to not go out for qualifying, just wanted to start himself off at the back of the field. I think he realized just how difficult this track was going to be to drive at first.
Oh, spinner Alex Oriens.
Alex Oriens appears to be our caution once again. He gets high up on the track here in turns 3 and 4, and once again that thing loops around, and looks like he got a little bit of the wall maybe this time, and actually he was able to not actually have any damage again. He's 2-0 on hitting the wall, but 0-2 on bringing out the caution. So we will see where the leaders are, and I think we expect some pit strategies here, guys. This is kind of the point in the race where it turns. We're starting to count laps down now. What do you think is going to happen here, guys, right before they come in?
I would like to think Matt Cucker would come down towards the pit box, as you can see him shading that now, going down in there. He was really struggling with grip, and there goes Jake Watson, late commitment down. So we got your leaders on pit road. Matt Cucker, Jake Watson, Sean Cool, Stefan Marinak actually staying out though.
As well as AJ Hamill.
Jake Watson leads the parade down pit road under caution. This could be the make or break story for this race, at least. Could be championship implications, might I say, for the 25 of Stefan Marinak. Because if there's no more cautions, he's really in a pickle. But at the same time, it might be good for him if there is that. Looking at these drivers, left side's up on all of these guys, and I think that all of these guys are taking 4 tires. Battle off pit road is going to be Matt Cucker over Jake Watson. That is the preferred pit stall doing that. And Sean Cool will beat Scott Naslund and Nicholas Rasmussen. So really, those are some good fights on pit road there.
Yeah, there's some great driving from Matt Cucker in the pit lane. Is a lot of people just kind of forget how much the race can be won or lost down there. Is really, it's so much easier to pass a car on pit lane just by getting a good stop than it is to try to battle them out on the racetrack and wear out your tires. And speaking of tires, we're going to have Stefan Marinak, AJ Hamill, and Justin McDuff out there on those 60-plus lap old tires. And we'll have to see how well those things are going to hold up compared to the fresh rubbers that Matt Cucker and the rest of the field have put on. So Stefan Marinak's going to have to try to make that car as wide as possible and hope that the 18 and 20 can be a bit of a buffer zone for him as he waits for maybe another caution to come out.
So as we are under caution, we'll take a look at your iRacing Midway Race Break, brought to you by iRacing, the leading online racing simulation. Developed from the beginning as a centralized racing and competition service, iRacing organizes, hosts, and officiates races on virtual tracks all around the world. In the fast-paced world of esports, iRacing is a one-stop shop with officially sanctioned racing from NASCAR, IndyCar, IMSA, World of Outlaws, and more. This is how they will start up here for this restart. Stefan Marinak first, then you've got AJ Hamel, Justin McDuff, Matt Cucker, and Jake Watson, your top 5. Sean Cool, Scott Naslund, Nicholas Rasmussen, Game Fortin, and Al Smith Jr. rounding out your top 10.
11th, we see Brian Rogers Jr. 12th is Michael Woodring. Dan Dubuque in 13th. 14th is the 36th of Mark Royer. Jay Dubuque sits 15th. 16th, Mike Holtzclaw. James McIntyre Jr. is our last car on the lead lap. Alex Orion sits 2 laps down 18th. And one car that has parked for the night is Wayne McDuff 3rd.
Pace car down and away, Stefan Marinak. He will get going in a really quick restart here for him, and we will see which one of these drivers with fresh tires has the patience, but also the quickness to get back by these guys. And it's going to be the 69 of Matt Cucker on the outside of the 20. That's Justin McDuff trying to hold off these fast-charging guys, but I just do not think it's going to happen. 60-lap tires versus fresh tires. This is the difference coming out of turn number 4. And Stefan Marinak is going to be living on a prayer if these guys get to him really quick.
He does, and you can see Matt Cucker on the outside line really diming it down, getting that run off of turns 1 and 2 all over the back bumper of the 18, but the 18 does a good job at really blocking the run. Now he's going to challenge Stefan Marinak for the lead, as now Watson's going to look to the outside of Cucker. So 2 by 2 they go across the start finish line. This is where things start to pick up, Coop, as they're still side by side off into 1.
This is kind of what Stefan Marinak is looking for. A little bit of a long jam, and he almost loses himself 3 wide there for P number 2, and they're still going side by side for what might potentially be the first shot at the leader here. And it's going to be the 18 of AJ Hamel here who will be in front, and he's going to be looking to be past the outside of the 88 of Jake Watson. Watson did not get the pit stop he wanted because he lost a position, but now he's going to be in the prime spot to get the lead here as he's going to the outside, and AJ Hamel. I keep getting AJ and Al Smith mixed up, but AJ is going to not really be having a good chance at being able to keep the first position. So Jake Watson actually led that lap, and so it will be on from there for the guys behind him. Jake Watson continuing to put on the pressure, trying to get clear, trying to really get that position away, but he also doesn't want to make it too easy for the number 69 of Matt Cucker to also get by. So the 88 of Jake Watson gets by and gets clear, and it's going to be on from there for the guys behind.
Yeah, Matt Cucker still trying to get around that 18, who was basically kind of, 18 was a bit of an unintentional pick for Jake Watson. He just kind of made sure that Matt Cucker couldn't get around AJ Hamel and just kind of pinned him in back there as he made that run on the high side, and AJ kind of held him up a little bit. Now AJ's going to lose even more ground here as the 24 of the 24 of Sean Cool is going to try to make a move down the inside, as Matt Cucker as well is still getting a little bit closer to that 88. He wants to try to make a move.
Stefan Marinak still falling to chase competitors, might I add, in the thick of all this, and still the leader, Jake Watson, fending off Matt Cucker. It's never been but close for these front few drivers, and Sean Cool now gets to join the party of top 3 drivers. There goes Nicholas Rasmussen to the bottom, right in front of AJ Hamel. He's on those fresh new tires, and look at AJ Hamel once again getting a little sideways. Remember, he doesn't have those good tires, and he's going to cut the nose off Game Fortin right there. Not going to be a pretty sight if that happens again, I'm sure, as Guime has the fastest tires. He will still be on the inside, and he will clear. He will get a top 5 spot out of it. And so the top 5 on brand new tires. And then you've got AJ and Stefan fighting for 6th place. Both those drivers on old tires and still fighting to stay alive in the championship race. As still looking at this lead, still just about a tenth or so.
Yeah, Coop, and we're really watching the 69 of Matt Cucker and the 88 of Jake Watson, because Cucker has really got to the back bumper of Watson's 88 machine, and Sean Cool's really joined the party now because he's going to be at the back bumper of Matt Cucker's machine. So basically a 3-car battle for this lead, because if Jake Watson, Matt Cucker gets sideways, that's just going to open up the door for Sean Cool to get up there and join the fun. So definitely going to have to be more careful in what move Matt Cucker makes, because if it's the wrong one, Sean Cool will be there to really take advantage of it and maybe even take the lead here in the next few laps.
Matt Cucker is all over him right here. There's not much space between those two drivers, and a 10th at a place like this is not that much room when you're talking about how much it is. I mean, you can see it on the cameras here. There's not much room between these two drivers, but Matt Cucker not making the move quite yet, trying to save. Possibly he makes the move to the inside right here. He's going to have to give up just a little bit of speed and a little bit of room, but he had the nose, I think. I think he threw it just a little too late because Jake was already committed to doing that line. So going to have to really watch that later on and see if Cucker does that move again, whether he's going to back out of it like he just did there on lap 76.
Yeah, and Matt Cucker using up those tires just a little bit, trying to get that line on the inside. And if he's got to be careful with these moves, if that move costs him too much momentum, he'll lose at least one position to Sean Cool, who is right on his bumper as well. Nearly not almost as close as to Matt Cucker as Matt Cucker is to Jake Watson, but now Matt Cucker's getting even closer. He is nearly pushing on that back end of the 88. We saw him bump drafting the 18 just a little bit a few laps before, and this is almost starting to look like Talladega here tonight as he gets right up to that bumper. There is almost no room between the 88 and the 69, and Matt Cucker's just trying to see if he can draw a little bit of focus away from Jake Watson, make Jake Watson make a mistake, or just try to see if he can try to move a line there. As he wobbles for a second, as he looked like he was going to make a move and decided to back out of it at the last moment. Matt Cucker really just looking for any sort of gap that he can work with right now.
Yeah, I think Matt Cucker knows that in order to get the best opportunity, Jake's got to make a mistake. And what he did there on the back straightaway was make it look like he was going to go to the inside. So if the 88, well, he got a little loose there, but the 88 is starting to mirror drive, which I think that's why he's so close to him. Wow, not really much room there. If any contact was there, it was little. But what Matt Cucker was trying to do, I think, was to make him start looking in his mirror, and when he went to go to the bottom, maybe make him overshoot the corner just a little bit, trying to defend the position. But it's still those three drivers. Sean Cool, I think, is in the best seat in the house because anything happens, he's able to kind of really realistically just go whichever direction he wants to. And look at Nicholas Rasmussen. He's behind all of this. He's in a great position. He needs to save tires in his position because really, I just don't think that passing these guys or really driving the car that hard is going to help him. But these three drivers up here are getting very close.
Yeah, getting very close indeed, and Matt Cucker's doing a really good job at doing what he was doing with Stefan Marinak for the first few laps before he made that pass on that 25 machine. Really just doing a great job at applying pressure to Jake Watson and making sure that if there is a mistake, that 69 machine will be able to capitalize because he is not stirred away from that back end at all. Look at how close he is going down the back end, but still not making a move. He's just applying the pressure because Jake Watson knows that Matt Cucker is faster than him at this moment in time, and there he goes down to the inside. They're going to be side by side off into one.
Cucker on the bottom, Watson on the top, and he's going to pinch him down just a little bit, but that gets the 88 a little bit sideways. A lot of speed from the 88 in that manner, but he did use those right sides up quite a bit, and I think Cucker was looking for him to maybe really push on the outside, and you can definitely tell that the 88 is not trying to give it up easily. But he gets that at the line. Matt Cucker back to the lead, but not clear just quite yet. Cucker just goes up the track a little bit. The crossover move, that's what the 88's looking for right now, but he is not going to be there. And Matt Cucker will eventually clear him on lap number 85. Not too many laps to go. This is only an 83-mile race here, guys. And they're already getting really close to the end of this one. Matt Cucker will take the lead, and it looks like he'll pull away just a little bit. And so while we've got the moment, we'll also tell you a little bit more about iRacing. For more information on the wide variety of sim racing possibilities online, you can visit iRacing.com to sign up today. Thanks to our friends at Red Bull Global Rallycross, you can now visit iRacing.com/membership and use the code PR-GRC for an opportunity to start your career on iRacing with 3 months for only $5. That's promo code PR-GRC. New members only, though. If you're an old member like us, you gotta wait for Black Friday to come around. Matt Cucker still leads with a 3/10 lead. a little bit more than a 3/10 lead. Jake Watson is only leading by about the same margin with Sean Cool. And then you've got Nicholas Rasmussen just kind of riding in the distance with this top 4 right here, which has really settled itself away. You start to look back through the field of which drivers took those tires and which ones didn't. The ones we're talking about, the ones who didn't. Stefan Marinak finds himself in 7th place, still finding ways to hold off Guillaume Fortin. I don't think he's too happy about that because they've been basically battling this whole time and even let 2 drivers in front of him. And then you've got, looks like AJ Hamill. He's found himself to be in 9th place despite that tire deficit.
Yeah, and Justin McDuff, he's fallen the furthest without taking tires. He's dropped himself all the way back to 11th at the moment. But the next time the caution comes out, these guys can all take tires. That will put them at the back of this field. However, they will have that fresh rubber and will try to make a move throughout, make these moves happen. So it's going to be difficult with the huge amount of cars that'll be in front of them. But as we've seen with Sean Cool, it is possible to move yourself all the way up this racetrack past all these other drivers. Is looking at Al Smith Jr. He's going to try to make a move to the inside of Scott Naslin. Scott Naslin way up the racetrack there and trying to see if he can make that high line work, but he is going to lose a lot of ground into the 96.
Oh, looks like the 24 has crashed his car on the inside. John Cool made a mistake, but so did the drivers in front of him, and he made the worst one of all 3 drivers. And he is going to have probably the worst ending to the night I think he could imagine. We're gonna replay
it was
up.
A really hard hit, Coop. They were going through. You could see just in front of him the battle for the lead start to heat back up, but that 24 machine just never caught traction, and he couldn't get it back under. Hard hit to the inside wall for him. Black smoke pouring out of that one. That's going to end the 24 machine's night. He was having such a great run.
And the really odd thing to me was both of the guys in front of him also made mistakes, and I'm just really, it was at a moment like they didn't do that in the previous laps. It was just all of a sudden they snapped loose. And I mean, I was watching these guys pretty carefully, and they were running great laps in the turn number 1, but now all of a sudden just really loose on these cars. So I guess they just hit a threshold that they couldn't withstand for some reason, or these drivers just all lost it, or seeing the guys in front of him lose it was not something he was expecting. So AJ Hamill and Stefan Marinak, they will come down pit road and get tires, and this is going to be an uphill battle for them, but I think they will have enough laps to do it. They'll have just over, I think, 16, 17, or 18 laps. So while these guys get their pit service done, we'll take our final commercial for this race. We'll have non-stop action when we come back here at Richmond Raceway.
Red Bull GRCs are now available on iRacing. I personally put my blood, sweat, and tears into this thing, developing the cars, the tracks, the dirt, making sure it is authentic as possible, and I really think you guys are going to love it. The best part is that this 600 horsepower Volkswagen Beetle is free to all members. So get signed up now and come race me online.
Welcome back to LSRTV's coverage of the Upstate Racing League as we are back under green flag conditions. Matt Knuckle gets going in front of Jake Watson and Nicholas Rasmussen for the top 3 positions here for this first race in the championship. Scott Naslund back in the pack, gets a little bit rough in the corner, gets tight, lets 2 drivers by. That's going to be the 96 as Al Smith Jr. and Guillemay Fortin. He gets by as well. That'll put him in the top 5. Big talk of just a little bit of it's number 24 of Sean Cool. Battle still going on for 5th place. Looks like Scott Naslund, Al Smith Jr. and Guillaume Fortin, they are all going at it, and they all got loose right there just a little bit.
Trouble for the 06. He gets way up the racetrack, loses a ton of ground. It looks like he's going to go all the way from 8th to I think even back to 13th there after that. A huge mistake here. He'll survive actually just at 12th at the moment, but he needs to find a way back down to that racetrack and get himself back into line and back onto his groove, as that was a huge amount of ground that he lost there. Looking back up towards the front of the field, looks like Jake Watson starting to slowly chip away at that lead that Matt Knuckle had opened.
Just a little bit, knowing that he's got tires that are cooled down. I think he's going to try and put the pressure on because he's got 12 laps to go, which is 12 laps to see if Stefan Marinac has the tires to catch these guys as well. Remember, he just came down and got tires and is going to try and get these guys back, get all those positions back, and maybe even try and go for a win. He's going to have to hope for some mistakes, and he's going to have to make sure he has none himself. Maybe that battle for the lead, they go side by side, helps him out. He's going to be passing the number 96. This is going to be a twofer here in the corner, and he's going to be in 4th place here out of turn number 2. And I don't know how the heck he didn't hit the wall, but he's sailing, guys. He's very, very fast, and this tire strategy might be it if he has no contest with the guy in front of him being Nicholas Rasmussen.
Yeah, Stefan Marinac on a huge tear inside 10 laps to go. I just don't think the time is on his favor. He's going to have to hope that Jake Watson and that 88 machine can catch Matt Knuckle and make it a side-by-side battle, and it's not really looking too favorable right now. They've kind of really stalled out towards the top 2. Meanwhile, Stefan Marinac going to go side by side with the 71 of Rasmussen. Rasmussen not even going to fight, going to let the 25 go, and I might be eating my words here because now look, Matt Knuckle gets really loose off the corner there. Now there's a side by side battle for the lead.
There goes the number 88, Jake Watson on the bottom, and this is the best thing for the 25 to see because as they think they're going for the battle for the lead, I know the 25 is just smiling ear to ear knowing that this is helping him in every single way. He is watching Jake Watson take the lead away from Matt Knuckle here. Matt Knuckle going to try and go on the return on the bottom side, and it's still a good battle for first place, and realistically, they think they're going for the win, I think, but I don't think they realize how much this is letting Stefan Marinac come back into the picture, although it is under 10 laps to go, like you said, Chris, and it's anyone's bet here, and they make contact going on a 2. They can both get sideways here going into turn number 3 on lap 105. They both know what's on the line. A win can propel them in such a big way, but here comes Stefan Marinac coming to these guys right behind him, and I bet you these guys are just thinking, where did he come from? Turn 1, here comes Stefan Marinac on the bottom, trying to get underneath the 88, and now Jake Watson is cleared of Matt Knuckle. Now he's going back on the bottom side. This is a good race, but they're kind of letting it happen for Stefan Marinac right here.
But the problem is with these guys side by side, Stefan Marinac is left with nowhere to go unless, oh, a bit of a tap from Matt Knuckle, and they're going to go 3 wide. 3 wide for the lead into turn number 1. Stefan Marinac on the bottom with those fresh tires, and he's going to make those tires work. Actually has to check up just slightly as he's pinched from the 88. They're going to go 3 wide once again as Matt Knuckle dives to the inside, leaving Stefan Marinac in that middle, and that might be where he wants to be. He's got that extra grip on the high side with those fresh tires, and they're going to go 3 wide almost once more coming off.
They're just changing lanes.
Yeah, everyone's just changing positions, trying to battle for that race lead. Is now that 25 will get ahead, and I think that might be it. He's got the grip, he's got the fresh tires, and now he's got the position. So Matt Knuckle and Jake Watson, they're going to be left to fight for the scraps left over as Stefan Marinac gets past them and rockets off into the lead.
and they are still battling like it's for the lead between these guys going for second. It's a fantastic battle between these two. They're having a bunch of fun, I think, but I think they both realize that the win maybe was or is gone, but still going for it. But 3 wide right there. That was almost for an entire full lap, and kind of 2 different ways with the lane changing. But it'll be 2 laps to go here this time by Matt Knuckle and Jake Watson, kind of being the story that we're going to watch. But Stefan Marinak put the do not disturb sign on the door because he is just checked out.
Yeah, he's checking out. Meanwhile, still side by side for second, Jake Watson, Matt Knuckle. Watson on the high side, Knuckle on the low side. This is kind of switched from what we saw a few laps ago. Now Jake Watson going to give a whole lot of contact to the back bumper. Not really going to help that 88 machine out too much. He's going to get squarely behind the 69 Matt Knuckle. So white flag in the air. Does Jake Watson have anything for that 69?
I'd say he does, but Jake Watson and Matt Knuckle, those are 2 names that are not going to be going to victory lane. If Stefan Marinak can get through in these final corners, and it looks like he is going to do that, and it looks like they both get sideways behind him, but Stefan Marinak comes home a victor in the first round of this race. And wow, what a race between those guys behind him. Stefan made the great change of plan, and it worked out for him. But I'll tell you what, that was a hell of a race for second place right there. Those guys, I'm sure, had fun, and it was really fun for us to watch here in the late goings of this race.
Oh yeah, there was a ton of battling going on there, and Stefan Marinak really put those fresh tires to good use. Really made the most of his tire strategy here, and I was starting to think earlier on that he did make the wrong call staying out and trying to gamble on the later caution. That caution did come out. It dropped him way deep in the field, but really he had the skill to back it up and took off and sliced his way up through the field. And I think the worst trouble he had, though, was with Matt Knuckle and Jake Watson, because he came up on those guys when they were side by side, and he knew that he had no time to wait for them to sort out this race. So I think we went a 3 wide 2, maybe 3 times there within the span of just like 2 laps. They were completely no gaps. They were side by side, bumping and banging, and it was just a fantastic closing to this race.
Jake Watson, or not Jake Watson, Stefan Marinak begins to burn it down here on the front straightaway, and I think Chris sent us a little PM right there and said that they changed lanes so much that the 25 started on the bottom, went to the middle lane, and eventually was on the high lane to make the pass done, which is truly incredible. And these guys kept it off each other, used each other up when they needed to, and I think that was probably one of the best finishes to a race we have seen in this league in quite some time. So Stefan Marinak will put himself, I think, at the point of this series for next week, so that'll be really good for him. So he'll win tonight's race. Matt Knuckle will finish in second. Jake Watson finishes third. I said those are the 3 guys that we have to watch. They start 1, 2, 3. They finish 1, 2, 3 tonight. AJ Hamel will finish 4th, and then Nicholas Rasmussen will finish 5th. He'll still get himself a good top 5 after finishing 13th. He's our biggest mover.
6th is going to go to Al Smith Jr. Scott Naslin going to be 7th. 8th, Justin McDuff, Gilmay 14 in that 13th. Tried to combine 2 words. They're going to be 9th. James McIntyre Jr. going to round out your top 10.
Mark Rohrer is going to come home 11th. Michael Woodring brings it home 12th. 13th will go to the 12th, Brian Rogers Jr. Dan Dubuque finishes 14th. 15th goes to Mike Holtzclaw. Jay Dubuque, last car on the lead lap, will finish 16th. Sean Cool, after losing control of that car, really kind of a heartbreak for that 24 car, finishes in 17th. 18th to Alex Orions, and 19th to Wayne McDuff.
What an incredible race here at the end for the finish of the Arts Barbershop 111, and definitely want to thank them for their support of this race and their series. And we'll talk to the top 3 drivers we just talked about, Stefan Marinak, Matt Knuckle, and Jake Watson, here in just a moment. You've been watching LSRTV's coverage of the Upstate Racing League here at Richmond Raceway.
This broadcast is the copyrighted work of LSRTV and may not be rebroadcast, retranslated, or used in any form without the express written consent of Live Sim Racing LLC and iRacing.com Motorsport Simulations. LSRTV would like to thank you for your support, and we hope you enjoyed tonight's broadcast.
Welcome back to Richmond. As the dust has settled from these cars, the rubber starts to cool off on the tires, and we will talk to your winner, which is Stefan Marinak. Stefan, you get your first win in the last 5 races here, and you continue your streak of 11 top 5s in a row now, so that's good for you. But I think the biggest point was your charge from the back to the front on those that tire strategy. Did you ever think that you weren't going to get cautioned? Because I'm sure it was at least running through your mind there in the late runnings of that green flag run.
Yeah, I really did not think that was going to come out, and I was just riding around the track. I was losing spots, and I pretty much just made peace with it. And then it came out, and even under that caution, AJ and I were talking. We didn't think we'd have nearly enough time to get back up there, and we stayed up there pretty good with old tires, so I didn't really think it'd make that much of a difference, but that car sailed right through the field, and just enough time to do it.
Well, I'll definitely ask if they weren't fighting for position, do you think that would have changed the outcome of how quickly you're able to get them? Because I think we had discussed it, and I think Chris is right whenever he says that that you weren't catching them at a rate enough to catch them and going single file, but they were going for a win, which actually ended up being your win. And do you think you would have caught them at that point?
I'm not sure. I mean, I had all my menus and stuff turned off there. I was definitely cheering for him to keep battling when I was behind him. Because I mean, of
course you were.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I caught the other cars pretty fast, but I don't know if I would have caught him or not.
Well, this is a really, really big race for you to start off the championship in the right direction for drivers such as Sean Cole. This is definitely not exactly what he wanted, and really, we talk about how every race you need to get up there, you need to try and make the best out of it, and realistically, you didn't have a good hand until that point happened where you got the caution. So I do believe you guys might still have a 1-point difference in Matt Cucker's favor because of the bonus point situation, but it's still a really good race for you. And I think if anything is like this, we're really excited to see the next 4 races here in the Upstate Racing League. So before we let you go, Stefan, shout out sponsors, any specific things you got to say, now's the time to do it.
Yeah, just thanks to Arts Barbershop for sponsoring this race, and also White Knuckle Clothing for sponsoring the series, and you guys at LSRTV, Mach 1 Racing Graphics, and shout out to all my teammates that race here that I'm racing with in the Rolex 24 this weekend. It should be a lot of fun, and go Gators.
Good luck in your 24 for sure, because we're having a couple of our own here, even in the booth, and then we've got a lot of fun in store for the next 4 races. So we will see you then.
All right, thank you. Good luck to you.
All right, there you have it. Stefan Marinak wins the first race of 5 in this championship hunt, and so we will throw it down to Kelly Dahl, who will catch up with Matt Cucker, who just came up short. Tire strategy does not work out for him, but if it wasn't for tires, he might have been that winner here, Kelly.
Yeah, I'm caught up with Matt Cucker. Definitely no stranger to our interview process here. And Matt, I think we've got a bit of a preview to what the championship battle is going to shape up between you, Stefan Marinak, and Jake Watson. How do you feel with going on to these last 4 races with those guys being in such tight contention with you?
I mean, as long as we continue racing like that tonight, clean and where we can pass each other back and forth and not wreck each other, I'm okay with it. I mean, that's what I live for, is that clean racing, and to where we can have fun, and it's all about who comes out on top. And tonight it just wasn't us. I mean, me and Jake were on the same strategy, and And as soon as that caution came out 20 to go, I knew it was over. Either if me and Jake didn't battle, he still would have caught us by the end. So I figured we better put on a show for the fans, and we did that.
These guys certainly did put on a show, I think, going 3 wide 3 times in the span of just a couple laps there. And we noticed it was actually surprising you guys were able to hold on so well, because we saw throughout the night that it was very difficult to get around the track here. A lot of cars were spinning out, a lot of cars were getting loose. How tough was it for you to hold on to that car around this track?
It was a handful. I mean, especially getting in turn 1, I don't know how many times if I missed the corner, I'd really get loose in the center, up off. So if you didn't hit the corner right, it'd really hurt you. But I mean, it is what it is, and we'll have to go on to Oxford next week.
Speaking of Oxford, we are going on to that track next week. It is a bit of a different track, one that we don't see too often come up here on LSRTV. Really is only the late models that go there. And how do you feel going on into that track next week?
It's probably my favorite track on the sim. I mean, it's real tight, Super Bowl kind of track, just a circle, and got to be consistent, hit your marks, save tires, and hopefully we'll come out on top there.
All right, well, thank you very much for stopping by with us, Matt. We're going to give you the floor for a moment and just give you a shout out to whoever you wish to thank for getting you up to this position here tonight.
I thank Team Inseer, Globalcom, iAnalyze. I thank Turn 3 Auto Transport. And I thank you guys for broadcasting, and Upstate Racing League and Arts Barbershop for coming on board tonight.
All right, well, thank you very much for stopping by with us, Matt. We'll hope to see you again next week.
All right, thank you.
All right, well, I'm going to pass it on down to Chris now, who I believe is caught up with our 3rd place finisher of the night, the 88 of Jake Watson.
Yeah, standing by with Jake Watson, getting ready to talk to him. Jake started 3rd, ended 3rd, but a whole lot of craziness in between. Looked like you were having a whole lot of fun out there.
Yeah, it was a show for sure. You know, I can't complain with a 3rd place finish. About 3/4 of the way through, my internet was starting to go out, and I'm glad it didn't completely go out. And that was awesome racing with Matt and Stefan there.
Yeah, a whole lot of crazy battling with some contact in between, and really just want to sit there and talk and rank your brain about that crazy 3 wide moment throughout the end of the race there between you, Stefan, and Matt. It was crazy for us to watch out here because it seemed at one point you guys had swapped through all 3 lanes just trying to get that position and stay in front of each other. Just how crazy was that 3 wide for those few laps?
It was unreal. I mean, my arms were tired after that one. We were switching back and forth just about, I don't know, twice every lap. So, I mean, can't complain.
And, you know, pit strategy was a big thing tonight. You know, when to pit, when not to pit. You know, we saw Stefan play it out really well, and we saw you guys battling and trying to do with it. How hard was the car to drive out there on old tires? And, you know, how hard was it to decide when to come in and when not?
It wasn't too bad on the long run. I mean, it got really loose off, but that's just the way I like my cars. It makes you really have to drive the car. And, you know, for pit strategy, I had William Hale on top of the box, and he helped me out with that, so I can't thank him anymore.
And, you know, moving on from this race, 4 races left in the chase, you're definitely starting out on the right foot with a top 3 finish. Going on to Oxford next week, you know, how do you think you shake up in that track?
I'm not looking forward to it, I can tell you that much. Oxford isn't really one of my tracks, but, you know, we're going to give it our all.
All right, Jake, thanks for talking to us. Before we let you go, teammates, family members, maybe a pet fish, who do you got to thank?
I got to thank William Hale for spotting me tonight and being crew chief, Leonard Recreational Racing, Dairy Cots Custom Diecast, Left Turn Chassis, and you guys for broadcasting.
All right, Jake, thanks for talking with us. Hopefully we can talk to you more throughout this chase for the championship.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, there you have it, guys. No pet fish for Jake Watson, but you know, fun racing here tonight at Richmond. Stefan comes away with the win and in spectacular fashion. Made me eat my words, like you said, Coop, and can't wait for the next few weeks to come.
Well, if the little fishies could watch this race, it would have been really exciting for them too. But, well, I guess if we have a mic test here and you make a joke like that, you'll know whose mic is still hot, which mine was. So, really, I've been looking through some of the stats, through some of the results of the last few weeks, and this is the 2nd week in a row Stefan Marinac, Matt Cucker, and Jake Watson have finished 1 through 3. Not in the same order, but in the top 3 together. This is the 2nd race in a row, and it's the 3rd race that Stefan Marinac and Matt Cucker, actually I think it's the 4th race in a row, might I add, that Stefan Marinak and Matt Kucker have finished 1-2. It just shows you that this is the cream of the cream of the crop that we're really dealing with right here. And I think these are the three guys that are the guys to beat, and not just beat by a little bit, by a lot. And Marinak is doing what he needs to do by winning tonight's race, getting as close to breaking even with Matt Kucker on points, because he's in the top 5 every single week. Statistically, he's 100% going to be in the top 5 every week, which is a really hard statistic to beat. Even Matt Kucker doesn't have that. Matt Kucker has more wins, but now he only has it by 1. I'm thinking to myself, this is going to be really difficult to pick out of these three. I mean, I still think Matt Kucker's got the speed, but Marinak's got the consistency over at Kelly, and Jake Watson still plays a dark horse race or a dark horse role in this kind of battle. If we're just talking about these three, we could talk about a whole lot of other drivers in this one as well.
Yeah, I was expecting the battle between Stefan Marinak and Matt Kucker. That's a battle that's been going on all season long, but I was kind of surprised that Jake Watson was up there, and not just up there, consistently battling for the lead, even leading a few laps there. So that was a really tough race and really surprising finish to it. Hopefully we'll get to see this throughout the season. Matt Kucker said the next week is one of his favorite tracks on the sim, so we'll have to see how he's going to come in next week and see if he can take control of that race.
Yeah, it was such an interesting race, you know, having all that battling. 3 wide still boggles my mind here, Coop. I haven't really processed all of that, and everybody seemed like they were having fun. You heard from Matt Kucker, if it continues like that, he lives for it, so expect to see more of that out of those 3 drivers, and hopefully more can step up to the game. Maybe Sean Cole bounce back from tonight and get a good run in there, so definitely far from over with these 4 races left.
Yeah, and anyone else could come back through the thick of it and really try and make it. I think the only driver that might be completely out of it, and it's a long stretch mathematically, he can do it, but just seeing the way the races have been going, it seems like Sean Cole may have bit the dust a little early in this 5-race championship here. But it's not over till it's over, and the way you can stick around and find out is you can keep up with Upstate Racing League at upstateracingleague.com. You can keep up with everything LSRTV at livesimracing.com, or you can visit us at Facebook. You can go at LSRTV for Twitter, and you can look at all LSRTV and Upstate Racing stuff in that regard. So from all of us in the booth, I've been Austin Coop. He's been Chris Murdoch, he's been Kelly Dahl, and Cisco Scarmuza. He's been keeping us in check and giving all the camera action for tonight. And we thank you. We'll say good night, and we'll see you at the next track.